525,600 minutes. 525,000 moments, oh dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? We all know that there are 525,600 minutes in a year. But besides the months, days, minutes, what else can we measure a year? Or, how do you measure a year in life? Jonathan Larson, an American composer and playwright, asked the audience this question in his noted opera, Rent. You can measure a year in how many miles you've traveled, in how many books you've read, or how many people you make friends with. As for me, the answer varies with time. But when I was 12 years old, that year, I measured that year in 365 Chinese speeches. And that year, I was chosen to represent our school to the National Chinese Speech Contest. In the contest, people have to draw a title 30 minutes before you stand on stage, then to deliver a minimum of 4-minute speech. It was a quite big challenge for me because I never had this kind of experience before. Fortunately, I had 1 year to prepare for it. And I had a coach, an experienced coach. We all call her Miss Red. At the first time I met with Miss Red, I saw an old woman wearing black dress with her arms folded. She looked at me for a while and said, "I want to hear your voice. Come with me." Then she led me to the balcony of the room. She said, "Okay, you may start." Huh? Louder, please. But, don't waste my time. Okay. No! Oh my God! They're all watching at me. People downstairs in the flag raising ceremony, they're all watching at me. It's so embarrassing. Since then, every morning, when my classmates went to the flag raising ceremony, I would shout at them from the balcony. So now I'm going to show you how we practice generally. At first, I would have to draw a speech title. Then, I would walk to the public restroom, stood in front of the big mirror of the public restroom, and practice myself for 30 minutes. Then, I would deliver my speech to Miss Red. Most of the time, I got harsh criticism. For example, I once had to talk about the topic, power outage. My speeches focus on what should we do during blackout? Playing pokers? Finding out the foods in your house and having a party? Or just go to sleep? Stop it! What's the first thing that will come up to your mind during blackout? Miss Ren suddenly interrupts. Food. No! How could it be? It must be candle. Look at the candle. Look at the candlelight and use your imagination. Though the light is dim in the dark, still it allows us to see in the dark. And your speech must be inspiring. Candlelight in the dark is just like hope in difficulties. You should tell the audience firmly that even though you are in difficulties, you will never give up. So, after months of training, my speeches seem to be improving little by little. However, there was one thing I really have to say. There's big differences between Mrs. Ren's speeches than mine. I wasn't that kind of sentimental and emotional. However, there was something I could discover in my speech. It was kind of style, a philosophy, Then I finally found out it was my attitude toward life. In a 4-minute speech, what should I do to impress my audience? The answer was to use my own stories. To tell them who I am, to reveal my thoughts, and to show my ideas about the topic. And I delivered the core message of my speech using a series of events that happened to me in the past. Later that year, in the national contest, I drew my title nervously. And you know what? It's power outage! Luckily, I was the champion in the contest. And afterward, I graduated from the school, and Miss Run retired the same year. I wasn't able to say thanks to her, to tell her that I love her and I really appreciate her effort in teaching me how to deliver a speech in a short period of time. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? After I finished the challenge, my answer toward the question turned out to be, I measure a year in how many goals I have, regardless achieving it or not. Because a year in life can be so different and meaningful if you have a dream and you try your best to accomplish it.